Alrighty, everyone. So in today's sponsored interview, I'm sitting down with Florian, who is the Chief Commercial Officer over at Oval3. This is a project we've been covering here on the channel for the past couple of weeks and is heading up the development of the top Web3 fantasy sports platform for one of the biggest international sports, rugby. I think you don't even have to be a big rugby fan to understand just how big this market is. I'm really excited to kind of dive into the conversation with Florian. We've got some topics to discuss today, and I want to kind of not only get some insight from Florian, but also kind of build on some of the stuff we've discussed here on the channel. So Florian, thank you, man, for making the time, especially during the holidays here. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to finally get to meet some of you guys from the team.
No, that's fine. Thank you for having me. Honestly, it's a pleasure. Yeah, only the time, but I'm not that busy, so that's cool.
Very cool, man. Well, let's kick it off, man. I'm excited to get a broad overview of Oval3 because I've been covering the project a bit on the channel, but some people may be hearing about it for the first time, and there might be some things that I haven't gotten to discuss in the videos. So I would love to get not only a broad overview of Oval3 as a project so people understand what you're building, but also the size of the rugby market as a sport and this kind of total addressable market, how Web3 can play like a big role in expanding your guys' platform and some of the previous experience you've had. And outside of that as well, the current traction, where are you guys at right now? Because I think you guys have a really impressive, kind of jumpstart here for being open less than a year as a project.
Yeah, first of all, honestly, it's like what it's really important for us is like not like a new company just built like a year ago. It's a project we launched with my business partner and co-founder 5 years ago now. Like as a big sports fan, so we played like rugby because we come from a city in France really like into rugby. You don't have the choice, you have to play rugby, and if you are not good at rugby you can play other sports. so from that, big fan of NFL, play American football too. We love the data, we love the fantasy sports because it's come from the US, and we just like look at the market and say, come on, we don't have anything for the rugby, so we decide to build that. And it was first a Web2 platform. We did a pre-seed fundraising, which was a success. And we start to develop the game, having some first contract with broadcast, and become the first like fantasy rugby game. And aside of that, we following like crypto, Web3, and we saw all of the option we can have like with the Web3 to engage more the fan, to have like all of those utility you can have like with this kind of product and new technology. So we decide to move on this side, and at the time some official league did some tender, and we beat like all of the big brand, and basically we got the right for official license on first of all the biggest market in the world, which one, the French one, the more powerful league. After we discussed with the US, which for us the biggest growth in terms of rugby, because the league is like expanding really fast, and the market is definitely, the US is one of the biggest markets. So we got the license for, again, 9 years. So it means like after the World Cup in the US, because you're going to have a World Cup in the US. So we extend, we did another fundraising, always in equity, the fundraising. And after we did some fundraising on the token side. So we definitely build the company on really big basics, like a classic company, and develop to have an healthy structure, and after develop. And about the rugby market is quite simple. The rugby is one of the biggest sports in the world. So I think it's ranked like 7 or 8 worldwide, with more than 800 million fans. And after this World Cup, the past World Cup in France, you got like even more fun and growth. But the market was clearly empty. So you don't have anything for young fan to engage with their favorite sport, or to build the new generation of fan, or to bring the fan in the stadium. So we just saw like, okay, it's our sport, we love this sport, and we can do something for it. And it was always our goal. And now with the growth we have, the result and the stuff, we are like quite happy about where we are now. We still have a lot to do, but yeah, that's a bit of us and the market.
I wanted to build on that though, Florian, because I think you hit the nail on the head that like you guys you've already kind of pioneered in this space, like trying to build the original Web2 platform. There isn't much competition here in the Web3 space for this. So I think you're tapping into an unaddressed market with using NFTs and a lot of Web3 technology for this fan base. And as you mentioned, like in the US, I mean, fantasy football has been around for a long time. I think it's past a decade now. You know, I've known my family and friends have been doing it. But in this case, you know, people think in the U.S. of football being like, you know, to us, it's probably the equivalent of football internationally, or, you know, what we would call soccer. But in the case of rugby, this is really an untapped market of, as you said, 800 million people. So I'm even thinking in like a very conservative case, if you guys can really tap into the hardcore fan base of a couple million people within rugby who are really dedicated to it. I mean, that's a huge addressable market right there for what you guys are building. And I think it speaks to just how big these markets are for fantasy sports.
Clearly, but we have to do it like step by step. So we start by our Web2 platform. We become the leader worldwide. And after we got the license, we always try to do in the right way. So with the support of the league, with the license, we have like more than almost 3,000 players under license on the platform. So we can produce something like really attractive with like official license. And now we are ready, we develop. And if you look at the numbers, basically it's almost impressive on the as you say, like NFT fantasy, you got like everybody knows Sorare and on soccer side, but after we are the second platform now, and we already making revenue and develop every month, and we have a massive growth. During the World Cup, it was more than 300%, and the platform making revenue and develop. So yeah, that's clearly a success for now.
Yeah, and
I'm always cautious.
Yeah, I think one thing as well on top of that is that you guys have been able to be, you know, revenue positive already. And we were joking, I think, before we jumped on for the interview that, like, you know, it's so rare to find projects that are revenue positive. I've covered projects for the last 6.5, almost coming up 7 years, and that's so difficult to find. But I think it's an actionable business model, and that kind of leads me to wanting to talk a little bit about how Oval3 as a game works. You know, because I think some people might be familiar to some degree with fantasy sports if they put fantasy football or fantasy like, you know, football internationally. So I'm curious to hear like a broad overview of how the game plays out and how the NFTs, like the various NFT collectible cards of players, how they're utilized within the game, and how, you know, for example, how you can increase your odds of winning depending on skills and the rarity of each card. So would love to hear kind of a broad overview from your side.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, the game is powered by the data side. The data will be basically we working with the biggest data provider worldwide, which is Opta StatPerform. Yeah, is the biggest in the world, come from US. So every time a player in a real game gonna make a performance, gonna make a tackle, gonna carry a ball, gonna make an offload, our algorithm going to take the data and start to build his performances on the platform. So it's really complex because we took more than like 100 data per players every game. But what was important for us is also to help the new person doesn't understand rugby to help them to play easily. Because the one thing difficult with rugby could be to understand the rules and stuff. So the challenge was to take a maximum of data to have like a game really performant and like really database on the real performance, but also attractive for person doesn't understand rugby. So we put those data in metadata, basically attribute. So they're going to build a node for strengths, attack, defense, power. And with this node, we're going to have an average node giving like a node between 0 and 100, more 30 and 100. And with that, it's going to be like, you know, a bit like FIFA Foot or FIFA. For somebody don't know, he's going to arrive on the platform and say, okay, this guy, I don't know the name, but he got a 70. So he's going to have an easy way to understand this player, the player of the performance. And you're going to have like the 5 past note. So it's going to help to say, okay, this guy is performance since a long time, since just recently. So that's the first step we did for engage with the new fan. Also, one of the part important for us was to give a chance. So in fact, if you go on the platform with just an email, you're going to put your email, you're going to be on the platform, and you can start to play with the free-to-play. You're not going to have to buy anything. You're not going to have to understand about NFTs, about anything. You're just going to make your first fantasy team with your first 5 player, and you're going to wait the weekend to see your results. And if your results are good, you're going to start to win your first NFT card, your first crypto, your first ticket for seeing a game, because that's also a part we would like to have, like in our reward, is to always bring back the fun to the real life rugby. So yeah, that's an important part. On the NFT side, we build different scarcity. So basically, you're gonna have the limited card, which is on an Android, 1 to Android. You're gonna have the rare card, 0 to 20. You're gonna have the super rare, which is 0 to 5, and the unique card. So which every player got this kind of this supply. The good point with the scarcity part is, if you just start, you are a rookie, you can buy and make your team for less than 10 quid. You're going to have your first limited team, which is good, because we don't want to have like only the people buying EV going to win. No, even with 10, if you start to understand the data and you goes deep inside, you're gonna be able to start to win. And that was something really important for us, to have like give the opportunity with the free-to-play or the limited card, with almost nothing to start to win and build your team.
That was the one thing before, when I was doing my research, I liked that it didn't feel like it was pay to win. That sometimes can happen with a lot of games nowadays. And outside of that as well, what I liked, as you mentioned, it's less than like $10 to just get started. I mean, you can start for free, testing out the game. And what I like about that is that, when I hear so much associated with NFTs in the crypto space, you think about like the profile picture NFT collections, like the Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunks, these really high-end, expensive collections. It's almost like an exclusive club. But in this case, I love seeing NFTs being utilized. You guys, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you utilize the Matic network as the background for transactions, so things are low cost. You do have some degrees of rarity on these players, but it's something that it's accessible for a wide fan base to actually engage with, which is the core purpose of the game. So I think you guys definitely hit the nail there on that.
For us, is kind of the essence of the sport. In fact, he has to be accessible to everybody. So we need to keep the spirit, and the rugby is a very humble sport, and at some point we would like to have like every people can try it for free, stay or not on the platform, and if they decide to stay, they can start to just make the first team with like under 10 quid, which is, I think, like really cool to play for this amount of money, honestly. And that's something we always had as a target.
Awesome. No, I think it's a great way to go about scaling it. And you guys have already, correct me if I'm wrong on the numbers, but I think you guys are doing $70,000 in NFT sales, like on a monthly basis. And this is in year one. I mean, like less than a year from like really you guys have been working on, as you mentioned earlier, this platform in the Web2 space for a while, but now with the launch of the Web3 version of Oval3, in this case, like you guys have been able to see significant traction of the game. And that kind of leads me a bit towards talking about the Oval3 token, because I know you guys have a native like utility platform token that also plays a bit into governance as well, long-term. But that's, I think, the kind of bigger picture stuff. But I was curious to maybe give people an overview, because they might notice that you guys have a token. They might be wondering, how does it play a role in the ecosystem? And my understanding is it's quite embedded, as for example, if you're making NFT purchases, you're going to need the token. And then outside of that as well, it can be utilized for a whole range of utilities. So maybe kind of give a broad overview of that for those who might be curious.
Yeah, the token was always a part of the plan, but as I said, first of all, it wasn't a financial aspect. It was definitely a utility token because, as you said, you can see a lot of Web3 company making ICO, taking with like a lot of promises, and at the end, you don't have like anything. On our side, we fundraise on the equity, and the token has to be in the ecosystem of the game. And that was really important for us. So this is why he arrived just after the launch of the game. And that's key for us. This token, he got like many utility. Basically, we would like to become, and we are on the way to become the first platform, digital platform worldwide for the rugby. And the token will have like a key part in this ecosystem. First of all, we launched the token and quite well recently. And first of all, you're going to have like, basically you can stack your token on the platform. That's the basic utility you can have at the beginning of the token, but the utility will be on the game side. So we're going to develop all along Q the 2024, all of the utility, which is going to be more located on the game side. You're going to have like the player versus player. The game going to appear in the game, so you can play with your card during the full week. You don't have like to wait the real game during the weekend. So which will be accessible with the token. You're going to have like your card, a training camp for your card. So you can add experience to your card, even if you're not putting your card in your game week, in your week of the weekend. Sorry, my French sometimes. So that's really important for us. The token, all of the marketplace, the secondary market will be used. Our token will be used to regulate the market and as a money inside. So basically more on the end of the season or 2025, we're going to start to develop the side of the fan token, because we already talked to league and club, and clearly some club will be really keen to use the token, to purchase merch, or in the eShop or in the shop at the stadium. So that's a more longest like view on the token, but we would like to have this token become like clearly the fan token of the rugby. Maybe I'm forgetting some of the utility, but we have like, it always was a big plan for him. Of course, we have like a very strong community on Discord, and you're gonna have like a governance with that, and which is really important for us, because since the beginning, the rugby is really a sport, a family sport. And since we launched, we have like a massive community on Discord, and they are all a part of our next choice. So now it's going to be official, because they're going to use the token to make the choice for the game in the future. So yeah, that's not it. Probably I forget some stuff, but
no,
yeah.
Well, I was going to build on one thing, which is, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but as I mentioned earlier, like when people make NFT purchases, so when people are directly engaging in the game, that benefit, they need the token for that. But outside of that as well, the other thing that builds on top of that is, I think there's a burn mechanism as well. Like basically,
sorry.
No, it's all good. But just to explain, like
buyback, burn, we're gonna do. Yeah. I'm the commercial officer, so I'm much more focused on licensing and
right.
So I'm less the tech guy, but in fact, the most important part is all of the buyback and the burn we're gonna do with the token. It gives us like a lot of. It's not power. It gives us like a massive tool to regulate the ecosystem, because it's really important to have an ecosystem sustainable during the years, and the token going to help us to regulate this part.
Right. Yeah, I think, to be honest, what's nice is that it's a direct tie towards where if the platform itself is seeing more adoption, I think in that case the Oval3 token does well and stuff. And for me, I've always been a big believer in kind of an alignment of incentives, where essentially there's that it's a clear utility function where, like, if the project's doing well, the token will also likely see at least some demand or traction and stuff for the interaction with the platform. So I think it's very cool. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is around the roadmap, because I think you guys, as I mentioned, the platform's been live for less than a year. You guys have already got some great traction. I'm curious about, where do you guys take things in 2024? Is there maybe like 2 or 3 big things? I know there's a lot that you guys are planning, but maybe what are some of the big highlights?
First of all, we're gonna start to launch the first utility of the token, which is really important for us to continue. So the token will be kind of like through the years, we're gonna launch every new part of the utility of the token through the years. That's gonna be something like or during the whole year 2024. Beginning of 2024, Q1, we're gonna have the first MLR, so Major League Rugby. So it's the US League. So the first competition will start because we launched the game, the friends starting in September, but the MLR starting like in March, beginning of March. So we're gonna have this one. So the first tournament of the MLR on 6 months. We're gonna have the first national team gonna join the league. So a new scarcity gonna be created to add like some traction around the existing one. That's gonna be a big surprise, and the gameplay will be really cool. We have like a massive project because basically since more than a year we developed like a new part of Oval3, which is going to be for us the part of the future in the fantasy sports NFTs and fantasy sports in general. That's something was never done, on any platform, any sport. And the rugby is going to be the first to support that, thanks to the league, because it's going to be a project, will be a side league, new league, like the URC, which is the United Rugby Championship, involving like South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Italy, and Wales. So we're going to do this project. So I can't tell you exactly which project is it, but basically, which gonna be sure, we're gonna launch the Serie A fundraising around this project, aside the league, a bit like the company Fanatic in the US did that, and we are really proud about this opportunity. Maybe I talk too much. I shouldn't talk about the Serie A and stuff, because it's like a really massive part of the 2024. But yeah, it is. It's gonna be like, honestly, a revolution in terms of like the concept, and Oval3 will become like really huge after this one.
I like, Florian, that you guys have obviously like the core product, which has already proven that there's a market to a degree. You guys are building, I think, a very sound business at its core, but then you guys have some areas where through Web3 you're able to build about new kind of value that you just weren't able to do in Web2, and be able to expand it out to some of the major leagues. The partnerships that you guys have, I think, are what really solidify it. And not to mention, you guys, as we kind of discussed, are tapping into this unaddressed market. So I think there's a huge fan base out there that's just waiting for this. And I think it's been an underserved market for the last couple of years. So, and as you mentioned, in the US, it's continuing to see traction. We're seeing it globally maintain as a big sport. So I think you guys are in a great position. I was curious, like, just kind of in closing, in this case, Florian, like if people are still here at the end of the interview, they're really excited about what you guys are building, they're enjoying our conversation, I'm curious, where would be the best place for them to go, like to learn more about the project? And if they want to get started right here today, they want to try the free-to-play version just to try it out, what's the best kind of route for those people to go down?
Basically, you can go on the platform, on the website. You're gonna have, first of all, the light paper is really cool, so you can understand a lot of the project, about the team, because it's not me or the CEO, it's like a massive team around. We build every position to have like the power to develop ourselves. Now we use like big studio to help to build the product at the beginning. So you're gonna have all of this info on the light paper, and I will tell you to start with the free to play. As I said, just one email and you're gonna be in the game, so you can enjoy and you can like learn and make your first team for free, which is again the best way to know if you like or not is to try. And trying for free, real free, it's the best opportunity, honestly. After, I will tell you to go on the Discord, because it's amazing how the community helping each other to start in the game. And honestly, that's our some of the users become almost friend. They are always to every interview. They coming, they helping the newbies. That's super cool, honestly, to have this spirit around the game.
No, I've said for a long time that one of the best gauges that you have a product market fit is when you can have like a Discord or Telegram or some kind of open community, and the users themselves will do the job of bringing on people into the ecosystem. So I mean, like,
they're doing more than us,
yeah,
way much more than us. They're helping the first one to buy some cards. Sometimes they are selling cards or dropping cards to each other, to helping some to start. Honestly, it's just like fantastic. It's amazing to have this kind of community.
And just to let you guys know, for those of you who are listening, and I'll drop the links down below in the description. Hopefully I'll get all of them in there that Florian, you were mentioning around the Discord and the website. But you can find all of it at its core on the Oval3 website, which I'll leave linked down below in the description. But Florian, man, this was a really great conversation. Again, it gave me a lot of good oversight as well. I mean, we did a lot of research around the project and seeing where you guys have come so far. I love seeing the traction, the brand partnerships with leagues and the players who have come onto the platform, and you can get unique NFT collections of those particular players and play fantasy sports on such a popular international sport.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah. Just one thing I forget to tell you, but we got the league, but we got also like the best player in the world is a business partner and the ambassador, and we're gonna onboard more players because we have like a lot of professional players start to communicate with us and like promote the game, because we did this game for the users, but also for the player, because we're promoting the sport and we're promoting the rugby in general. So we're promoting the club, the player, professional player, and they are onboarding, also onboarding on the game. So which is, I think, kind of proof of work when you got like also the professional player talking about it, and start to interact with everyone on the platform. Sorry.
No worries. I think that's very true and stuff. I know you guys market that on the website, and I think, to be honest, yeah, having those like personalities, not just the leagues involved, that's a huge step forward towards adoption and stuff. You have huge fan bases tied towards individual players. So no, I mean, it's awesome that you guys have already got such big players out there. And again, you have that experience from the prior Web2 company that you guys have built over the years. So I think it sets you guys up for a great position. But I definitely want to keep up with you guys over the next few months. And maybe we can have you back on, Florian. I know as well, we have some of the other team members as well.
It'll be a pleasure.
Yeah, but it was a true pleasure, man, to have you on. And again, guys, if you're interested in learning more about it, getting started the game, just try it out for free. See if you like it. You guys can check out the link down below in the description. But Florian, thank you, man. It was a pleasure to have you on, and happy holidays, man. And best of luck to you.
Thanks, mate. That was a pleasure. Happy holiday, and thanks for having me. Honestly, I can't wait for the next interview. Honestly, that was a pleasure.
Thanks, you, man.